Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in today for the Army Field Band's daily virtual concert series, We Stand Ready. I'm Sergeant First Class Thomas Davis, and we are live here on Fort Meade, where our soldiers are working hard to stay connected to you, our audience. It's been incredible to see our nation come together in recent weeks, working to flatten the curve and support each other during this difficult time. The Army is doing its part, and you might have seen our soldiers in the news recently. We've been busy setting up field hospitals all over the country and deploying healthcare professionals to hard-hit areas. The National Guard is supporting testing sites and ensuring Americans have access to essential food and medical supplies. It's times like these when we can draw inspiration from each other. And today, we hope to do that through the stories of our World War II generation, who are no stranger to adversity. As we recognize 75 years since the end of World War II, their incredible feats of heroism on the battlefield and stalwart solidarity at home remind us of the strength of the American people. Today, we share with you the World War II songbook and know you'll draw encouragement through the music and stories from our greatest generation of heroes.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of rain, for purple mountains and their majesties above the fruited plain. Yeah, we're talking about America. America, God shed His grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Sea to shining sea. America.
Sergeant First Class Randy White and Staff Sergeant Anthony Pachetti from the Jazz Ambassadors, thank you so much for that stunning rendition of America the Beautiful. I'm Staff Sergeant Sarah Polinsky, and I'm so excited to spend the afternoon with you, reminiscing about our greatest generation. Picture the home front, early 1940s. Families huddled around the living room radio, listening to the news and enjoying their favorite songs. Vera Lynn's rendition of White Cliffs of Dover became one of the most popular songs of the day, and she often performed it live for troops overseas. It looked toward a time when peace would return to the iconic White Cliffs. I visited the White Cliffs last year with my husband, and what struck me the most was if you looked south, you could see France just 20 miles away, where the German forces would have been waiting. I remember the sound of the water lapping against the cliffs and the wind blowing over the little daisies in the grass and thinking how peaceful it was, and realized we were only able to enjoy it because of the bravery of our service members and allies that they displayed decades before us.
There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover tomorrow. just you wait and see. There'll be love and laughter and peace ever after. Tomorrow, when the world is free, the shepherd will tend his sheep, and the valleys will bloom again, and Jimmy will go to sleep in his own little room again. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. Tomorrow, when the world is free.
That song just fills you with hope and peace. Exactly what families needed during World War II and what we need today. Some of the greatest works of music ever written were inspired by times of war. Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, Shostakovich's Seventh Symphony, Francis Scott Key writing our national anthem. Aaron Copland, one of America's most famous composers, wrote Fanfare for a Common Man as a response to the United States entry into World War II. He named the piece after a speech by then Vice President Henry Wallace, who spoke of the dawning of the century of the common man. listen to our horns go. Yes! Does anybody else want to make that their morning alarm? Over 16 million American soldiers served in World War II. As service members said goodbye to their families, uncertain when they might return, music offered some comfort. One of those tunes was another classic from the great Vera Lynn, "We'll Meet Again."
Again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. And will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
That voice, Staff Sergeant Kyra Dorn. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. I have a special spot in my heart for World War II veterans. I have two grandfathers and a great uncle that served. My grandpa, John Polinsky Jr., fought in the 350th Infantry Regiment of the famed 88th Infantry Division Fighting Blue Devils. Corporal Polinsky served as a squad leader in North Africa and Italy and fought in the liberation of Rome. He earned 2 Purple Heart medals as he was wounded and lost his leg in Italy. My grandpa lived until he was 94. My other grandfather, Robert Lavin, served in the China-Burma-India Theater in World War II as a Tech Force sergeant with the 14th U.S. Army Air Force, the Flying Tigers. He later served as a medic in a MASH unit in the Korean War. And my great-uncle John Lavin was there for the D-Day invasion of Normandy, France. A member of the 2nd Ranger Battalion, he survived the long climb up the cliffs at Pointe du Hoc, but was killed in action 3 weeks later, on the 24th of June, 1944. I would like to dedicate our next piece to my great-uncle, Private John Lavin.
My first duty station was with the U.S. Army Europe Band and Chorus in Heidelberg, Germany. My first official Army performance was the 60th anniversary of D-Day in Normandy, France. The National Cemetery at Omaha Beach is special. It is truly hallowed ground. The sheer number of perfectly placed headstones is staggering to see in person. When you look over the cliff towards Omaha Beach, you just have to wonder, how did anyone survive? One morning, we awoke early for a unit run on Omaha Beach just after sunrise. This was surreal. If you ever see pictures of what Omaha Beach looked like on D-Day, it was filled with barbed wire, iron obstacles, and mines. Looking from the beach up the cliffs to the cemetery was the same view that thousands of soldiers saw that day. Now, with the same perspective, the same view as the Allied forces, the same questions came to mind. How did anyone survive? The big day was finally here. June 6, 2004. There were a lot of World War II veterans present and up on the stage as part of the ceremony. I was in the USER Band in 2009, the year of the 65th anniversary of D-Day. We were staying just outside of St. Mary-Glise. There were World War II veterans on stage, but this time the group was noticeably smaller. Normandy has had an impact on me from the first time I set foot into the National Cemetery grounds. I feel incredibly honored, blessed, fortunate, and humbled to have been able to return my gratitude for what the greatest generation did, not just on D-Day, but during the entire war effort. It was also an incredible opportunity to honor the service and the sacrifice of World War II veterans, both past and present. To all of those who were part of the greatest generation, we thank you. Your service, devotion to duty, devotion to country, and sacrifice got us through the Second World War and served as the foundation of our country.
In 1944, as the conflict raged on, songs like I'll Be Seeing You spoke to the heavy hearts of loved ones separated by war. It's been a classic ever since, covered by famous artists such as Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Billie Holiday, and now our very own Staff Sergeant Kyra Dorn.
Familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousels, the chestnut trees, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, where every night is new. I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places. The lyrics to that song are just timeless. We'll see each other again in concert halls soon. It must have been hard to imagine life ever feeling normal after the war, but our greatest generation would return home and become the strength of our communities and nation. One of those soldiers who we'd like to tell you more about is Mr. Dale Jones, who was gracious enough to share his incredible story with us.
We come into the mouth of the Mediterranean, about 5 or 10 miles out away from land. There's a big explosion. You've never seen so many GIs in the water that all your life. And we went as fast as we could, and we picked up as many as we could. We headed for Oran, Algiers, in the Mediterranean. We got rid of all the Germans, I guess, and we headed back over through Algiers, over the mountain, and we come down, and it was in Tunisia.
When units of the 1st Armored came ashore at Oran in northern Tunisia, November 8, 1942, to challenge the Nazis' hold on North Africa.
The British were there first, and they cleaned the enemy out of Egypt and Libya, and here both armies are fighting, and the Germans are in the middle. Our objective was to hold Kasserine Pass. There was 2 passes, Fayed Pass and Kasserine Pass. Well, they snuck around Fayed Pass and cut us down. We got chewed up pretty bad. We landed on Anzio Beach. And from what I've learned, we got within 15 miles of Rome before the Germans found out, and they shoved us back within, 15 miles around from any corner of where the Anzio Beach was. Every major battle, we defeated the Germans, and on up the boot, one of the majors hollered at me. He said, "Jones," he said, "we want you to get in that plane. You're going back to Naples. You're going home." And then other guy says, "Yeah, that's pretty good, Jones." He was in the Marines, and he's the one that never come back. He got killed on Okinawa because they were shooting at this way, and they come back around on the side of him, and they had to reverse. They had to turn themselves, and what I understand is that the major said that your brother was shot twice in the neck, 2 shells. Said he never knew what hit him, and that makes me feel good.
Wow. Mr. Jones, if you and your family are watching, we thank you for your service. Music is powerful. Music communicates what words can't. Just as music brings us together right now during difficult times, during World War II, music was a force that united not only people, but nations. The famous composer and World War II veteran himself, Alfred Reed, wrote Russian Christmas music in 1944 as an effort to improve Russian and American relations during the war. Please enjoy a recording of this tour de force for symphonic band previously performed at the Lyric Opera House in Baltimore. I cannot wait for Americans to enjoy live performances like that again. The full volume of the Army Field Band, a beautiful concert hall, the audience coming together in applause. Since we're missing you so much during these virtual concerts, give us a wave in the comments so we can hear your applause. With the war's end in sight, the thought of homecomings was on everyone's mind. The same month victory was declared in Europe, singer Edith Piaf would write this song, a tune about holding a loved one close. Please welcome Sergeant First Class Kara Strange to perform La Vie en Rose.
I thought that love was just a word they sang about in songs I heard. It took your kisses to reveal that I was wrong and love is real. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle de bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il m'a dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi et moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit non pour la vie. Et quand je peux l'apercevoir, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday words seem to turn into love songs. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be la vie en rose.
Representing the sopranos of the Soldiers Chorus. Thank you so much, Sergeant First Class Strange. We have a special treat up next. The USO has been supporting our troops since its founding in 1941. But did you know the USO has an official march? It's named the Spirit of the USO. The music was written by a Broadway pit trombonist, Albert Godless, and the lyrics were written by a name many Americans might be familiar with.
The Spirit of the USO, the official march of the USO. The words were written by Prescott S. Bush, none other than the father of President George Herbert Walker Bush and grandfather of George W. Bush, 43rd President of our United States. We want to dedicate this performance to that family who has given this nation so many years of distinctive service.
The USO has been lifting the spirits of our service members for decades. During World War II, the USO accomplished this mission by sending musicians overseas to entertain troops with a special kind of new music, swing. In 1939, Germany had banned the playing of jazz and swing music. So for Americans abroad, listening to the music of Benny Goodman and Duke Ellington became a form of protest and patriotism, a way of embracing the culture and freedoms Americans enjoyed back at home. And not to mention, it was also pretty fun to dance to. 75 years ago, on September 2nd, 1945, Japan announced its surrender. Americans celebrated in streets across the country to express their relief and jubilation. In New York City, 2 million people gathered in Times Square. Music and dancing broke out as confetti, made of scraps of cloth, rained down from the sky. At long last, the dawn of peace. As we commemorate the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, we pay tribute to all our World War II veterans, especially those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Without their service, the world would be a different place. We are fortunate to have many World War II veterans still with us, and we never pass up the chance to thank them. Here at the Army Field Band, the best way we know how to do that is through music. To our World War II veterans and their families, thank you.
If you're reading this, my mama's sitting there. Looks like I only got a one-way ticket over here. I sure wish I give you one more kiss. And war was just a game we played when we were kids. Well, I'm laying down my gun, hanging up my boots. I'm up here with God, and we're both watching over you. So lay me down in that open field out on the edge of town, and numb my soul is where my mama always prayed that it would go. And if you're reading this, I'm already home. And if you're reading this halfway across the world, I won't be there to see the birth of our little girl. I hope she looks like you. I hope she fights like me, and stands up for the innocent and the weak. Well, I'm laying down my gun, hanging up my boots. Tell Dad I don't regret that I followed in his shoes. So lay me down in that open field out on the edge of town, and oh, my soul was where my mama always prayed that it would go. And if you're reading this, I'm already home. If you're reading this, there'll come a day when you'll move on and find someone else, and that's okay. Just remember this, I'm in a better place. Soldiers live in peace, and angels sing amazing grace. So lay me down, and in that open field out on the edge of town, and know my soul is where my mama always prayed that it would go. If you're reading this, if you're reading this, I'm already home.
Day is done, gone the sun from the lake, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest. God is nigh. Thanks and
From all of us here at the United States Army Field Band, we want to thank you for joining us today on We Stand Ready. Be sure to tune in tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern as We Stand Ready continues with Brass Bios, featuring our very own chamber brass. You can see our full broadcast schedule on our website, armyfieldband.com. Look for Army Field Band on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Subscribe and follow so you don't miss any of our upcoming virtual concerts. To all our fans and supporters online, thank you for supporting America's Army, the nation's winning team. We stand in solidarity as a nation and hope that your time with us today left you feeling inspired by the service of our greatest generation and our soldiers standing guard at this very moment all around the world. Thanks for tuning in. Stay healthy, take care of each other, and have a great afternoon.